Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Now, in October 2012, MP Tom Watson, now Deputy Leader of the Labour Party, claimed in the Commons there was, quote, clear intelligence of a powerful paedophile network linked to Parliament and number 10 Downing Street. The police duly revamped a previous investigation, but after 3 years without any breakthroughs, as far as we know, and a growing sense that the intelligence was not clear at all, a political storm has broken, with some dubbing Mr Watson the Witchfinder General, disseminating accusations based on dubious evidence. The storm reached new heights in the past week around the late Tory Home Secretary Liam Britton, one of the VIPs accused of being part of an alleged Westminster child abuse ring, who was also being investigated on a separate rape claim that Mr Watson had encouraged police to pursue. It was revealed that the police had found no evidence to corroborate the rape charge, but had admitted to tell Mr Britton, or Lord Britton, before the case was dropped, that he had died of cancer. Even his widow wasn't informed until he died last week, and Lord Britton died in January of this year. Long time. Tory MP Nicholas Soames said Mr Watson had vilely traduced Liam Britton. Labour's Deputy Leader admitted he should not have repeated a claim that Britton was, quote, close to evil, but he's refused an apology. Here's writer B. Campbell's take of the week.
Over the past few years, Tom Watson and a small group of MPs have been doing something ordinary. They've been doing something. That's extraordinary. They've been doing something about sexual crimes against children. Watson's part of a great social movement, from tenacious survivors of sexual abuse to whistleblowers, social workers, police officers and journalists. They've achieved a national inquiry into historic allegations of abuse and even some criminal convictions. It's unprecedented. Of course, the Hounds are howling, as they always do, against action to expose this, the most defended of crimes. How dare you? Unbelievable, impossible, they cry. But the lesson of the Jimmy Savile and Cyril Smith scandals is this: anything's possible. Calm down, wise up. You and I don't know what went on around Westminster. We weren't there. But the rage against Jack Goldsmith and Tom Watson for trying to find out is as unseemly as it's routine and predictable. Sometimes it's a proxy for an entirely different agenda. Tom Watson won't be forgiven for his campaign against hacking. The Murdoch media have reason to hate him. Politicians aren't in a position to investigate, and sometimes they get things wrong. But they have a public duty to raise concerns, call agencies to account, and make them do their job. It behoves everyone to be patient and scrupulous. Tom Watson and a small group of MPs have defied the establishment. We've got a national inquiry. We wouldn't have got it without them.
And from a darkened alley to our own dimly lit broom cupboard here in Westminster, B. Campbell joins us now. Welcome to the programme. Now,
Hi.
Tom Watson gave huge credence and publicity to a rape accusation against Liam Britton. He even pressed the police into reopening the case after they had concluded the accusations had no credence. They again concluded they had no credence. Surely he needs to apologise.
I don't want to get into an argument about that because I'm not sure that you're right in the way that you've formulated it. Well, I tell you what I think is wrong. The police are interested in Leon Britton. They are still interested.
But not on this particular rape application.
No.
On this rape accusation, they could find nothing to corroborate the accusation.
Yeah.
So shouldn't, since Tom Watson gave that legs, he was responsible
he
for
didn't give it legs.
Oh, no, he did.
He did what
he
he's
even wrote
supposed to
articles
do.
in the Mirror, and he asked for the police to reinvestigate it, which resulted in Leon Britton being named in the public, dying with this round his neck. Police have now said no further need to investigate. There's no corroboration whatsoever at all. Shouldn't he apologise?
It wasn't his fault that she wasn't told that his widow...
I'm not asking about that.
Well, actually, this is indicative of the problem. He does something which he's supposed to do. He invites the police to investigate things which have aroused his concern, and he takes serious. That's his job. That is not unreasonable. Just hold on, Andrew. Hold on. The next thing that happens is the police do what they're supposed to do. Investigate. Okay. They may think, actually, this hasn't got legs, it doesn't stand up.
Oh, no, they've already concluded that. There's no doubt. The investigation's over. They could find nothing to back up the victims, or so-called victims' allegations. Should Tom Watson have apologised?
Not if he didn't feel... He apologised for using that form of words, repeating that form of words. I think you said, Andrew, that as a result of Tom Watson's allegations, nobody's been prosecuted. 2 people are serving a sentence, one of 13 years, that arose from Tom Watson's...
Not on his claim of a VIP Westminster paedophile ring, which was what he claimed in 2012.
The Goddard inquiry might put all this together, but this is horrendously complex. My feeling is that as an MP, and Michael, when he was an MP, if people come to you with these kind of allegations and you talk to them and they seem to be, they seem to stand up, then it's your duty to raise them. It's your duty to raise them. That's what members...
Raising them is one thing. Going public, writing articles, pressing the DPP...
Isn't that the same thing as
pressing the DPP to reopen the case, that's entirely different.
Yeah, but if the person who's come to him... Sorry, on this DPP... actually, the police had interviewed Leon Britton before the Director of Public Prosecutions received that letter.
And if you believe the police didn't know that letter had already gone, you believe in fairies in the garden.
Look, I think there's a slight element of just aiming everything at Tom Watson, and maybe Zach Goldsmith will come into this. It is perfectly legitimate if you think you've got a credible witness, and that credible witness says, look, the police have closed this down, but here's my evidence. If you're in receipt of that, you really have a duty to raise it.
Whether the witness is credible or not is another matter. She had a history of mental instability. But Tom Watson...
That's the point of a police investigation. The police address everything to...
I understand. I want to move on.
That's what you do
that
when
was
you
a rape
investigate.
allegation, an allegation by women. I want to move on to the child abuse, because that wasn't a child abuse. I want to move on to that. 3 years ago, Tom Watson claimed in the Commons there was, quote, clear intelligence of a Westminster VIP child abuse network. Are we any closer to establishing its existence?
No, that's not a question for me. I have no idea what the investigations are pursuing. You misquoted Tom Watson when you said that he'd called Leon Britton close to evil. He called him close to evil as any human being could get.
Well, it's not a misquote, I just didn't give the full quote.
You didn't give the full quote. I mean, I think it was probably the most outrageous abuse of parliamentary privilege, probably in the history of Parliament. To say that about a former minister, a person who'd given decades of public service, to say it on the basis of, I don't know, whatever, something that he'd been told, to say it under the privilege of the House of Commons was absolutely
but he's wrong.
disgraceful.
He's apologised for using those words.
Well, but I'm afraid he's got himself into this Tory-hating fantasy, which has led him to say these ridiculous things.
What is the issue here? The issue here is that we have a catastrophe in Britain of child sexual abuse.
And you think that justifies traducing anybody that you wish to?
I think that it justifies Tom Watson and Zach Goldsmith, the group of 7 MPs...
Sorry, answer my question. Traducing whoever you
like. No,
like.
I don't want to answer your question. I want you to address what I think the real issue here is.
Why don't you bring all the other people into it who've been mentioned as well? I mean, it is just ridiculous.
The real issue
the way these people have been produced. Named publicly.
No, let me finish.
Well, sorry, I was in the middle of my answer, I thought.
Well, go on.
I was interrupted by
No,
B.
well, I'd like B to finish, and I'll come back to you.
OK.
B, can.
for 30 years, which synchronises with the period that we're talking about, the historic abuse cases, for 30 years, the British state made it absolutely clear that all professionals concerned with children have a statutory duty, an obligation to intervene and to act on suspicions of sexual abuse. As soon as that mandate was introduced in the mid-1980s, there was a collective nervous breakdown, and thereafter, and we are now living with the consequences of this, thereafter the state has been unable to withstand the resistance.
When did this lead to a mandate to just take names at random?
Well, actually,
and shut them around
it's
in
led to a
public?
catastrophe and a crisis. The crisis is this, that children have endured abuse in public institutions
It has led to a second,
for decades.
It has led to a second catastrophe, which is people on the basis of no evidence that has led to a charge,
Actually,
no evidence
you're not
that's
wrong.
been tested in court, no
you're
evidence
not
that's
right.
led to a conviction.
There is evidence that the police are still working with.
Oh, yeah. Careful what you say now.
I'm saying the police are still working with.
Okay,
They are
careful
still
what you
investigating. I'm being careful, actually. I'm trying to say to you, there is a crisis in Britain, and the crisis is this, that thousands and thousands of children, as we speak, are sexually abused, and we don't have a way of dealing with it. Her Majesty's Inspectorate of Constabulary this very summer.
And you think Tom Watson has helped this by throwing names around and using parliamentary privilege? You think he's helped?
Well, what do you think? Do you think we should have a national
We're talking about whether there's a problem. The Home Secretary
Do you?
said this is the tip of the iceberg. The Home Secretary said that.
Of course, no one is denying that child abuse is not a major problem, and that people have got away with it.
But people are denying that, actually, Andrew.
Account. Well, I'm not aware of that being denied as a major problem. What Tom Watson has concentrated on, he hasn't concentrated on Rochdale or Rotherham or Islington, where there was plenty of cases. He has concentrated on this Westminster VIP child abuse
on many things.
network. That's what he's concentrated on.
He has concentrated on the issues that were brought to him by people who have also taken it to other people as well. They didn't just come to Tom Watson, but they came to Tom Watson, and Tom Watson raised it, as it was his duty to raise it. And it's the police's obligation.
But why did he raise it and then why didn't he raise it and then just let the police get on with it?
Well, because, I mean, if I put myself in his position and the person you're raising it on behalf of says, oh, the police have actually ended their inquiries, I would feel I should write to the DPP to say, well, what's happening here? I haven't heard anything back.
And shut things down, and MI5 has shut things down.
I mean, there's two things here. First of all, do you think, Andrew, that it could be feasible that the police do not pursue cases when they think someone in authority might be exposed?
You tell me. You're the ex-Home Secretary.
I think it could well be.
Did it happen on your watch?
I don't think. I think things are different now, but I think in an age of deference, in a past period, I think it's perfectly.
Are you
possible.
clear? Well, this is the final question because we've run out of time. Because it's such an amazing subject to discuss that we could talk all night about it. Are you clear what was the clear intelligence that Mr. Watson claimed his accusations were based?
You're asking me an impossible question. He had intelligence. He was given access to information that from a number of
do you have an idea what it is?
I have an idea. Yeah, I do, and many people do, and the police do, and the police do.
And what is it?
You can't be serious.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Dee Campbell, thank you.
I've been getting away with it all.